Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Evil Hero Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post-Alliance Insight. Wanted to update the Evil Hero deck. They did get some new support in Alliance Insight in the form of a brand new monster for the deck. Plus I made some changes since the last update to the deck, just focusing more on being able to implement the actual playstyle of utilizing the different Evil Hero monsters to be able to summon out our many different fusion monsters, including using some of the pre-existing elemental heroes to help with that search and setup, and also make use of cards like Elemental Hero Neos being our main go-to boss monster to summon out our even bigger boss monsters, Evil Hero Neos Lord. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Evil Hero monsters, we're running 3 copies of Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold. You can discard this card to add 1 Dark Fusion, or 1 card that mentions it, from your deck to your hand. Except for Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold, you can only use this effect once per turn, and it cannot attack unless you control a fusion monster. So a Dusted Gold is just going to be your search power for a wide variety of spells that we run in the deck. So very useful to be able to search out the specific ones we need, because there are plenty of other spells that mention Dark Fusion in their card name. So just being able to search out all these different cards makes this as different than 3 of, so we always have that resource to go for. We're also running 2 copies of Evil Hero Dead End Prison. If you control a fusion monster that must be special summon with Dark Fusion, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Dead End Prison once per turn this way. You can send 1 hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. If you fusion summon a hero monster this turn, this face-up card can be used as a substitute for 1 material mentioned by name, but all other fusion materials must be correct. You can only use this effect of Dead End Prison once per turn, so being able to have this card kind of act like an Elemental Hero Prisma to copy makes us be able to use this card for cards like Evil Hero Inferno Wing Backfire and not have to run cards like Avion or Burstinatrix in the deck for that specific spot, because then Dead End Prison can just be used for that card. And then as for some of the one-ofs for the Evil Heroes, we're running 1 copy of the new Evil Hero Vicious Claws. You can target 1 hero monster on the field, special summon this card from your hand in defense position. If you do that, monster gains 300 attack. You can only use this effect of Vicious Claws once per turn. If a monster you control is destroyed by battle or a card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Then if you have a monster that mentions Dark Fusion in your graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field. You can only use this effect of Vicious Claws once per duel. So you have the destruction effect, but the main play is just more or less a Hero Swarm setup that you can do pretty easily with this card being able to use for that special summon setup on the field. We're also running the 1 copy of the Evil Hero Toxic Bubble, being able to special summon this card from your hand, but you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except hero monsters. And then with this card, if it's special summon, you control a fusion monster that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion. You can draw 2 cards, having the Elemental Hero Bubble Man playstyle for the Evil Hero deck. The 1 copy of Infernal Rider. This is your super polymerization search, being able to banish this card and 4 other monsters from your graveyard. So if you set up Infernal Rider, then have that initial monster set up late game, or at the end of your turn, if you have those different monsters in your graveyard, being able to then use them for the banish to search out our card, which we can then use against our opponent's resources as well. And then the 1 copy of Evil Hero Sinister Necrom to finish off the Evil Hero monsters, being able to banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 Evil Hero monster from your hand or deck, except for Evil Hero Sinister Necrom. So then you just grab more of the other one-of resources that I mentioned before as well. For the Elemental Heroes, we're running 3 copies of Elemental Hero Stratos, just so we have more of a search for any of the hero monsters that I mentioned before as well, thanks to this 1 Elemental Hero. The 2 copies of Vision Hero Vion, being able to use this card to send a hero monster from our deck to the graveyard, so then we can send cards like our next hero, which is the Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, being able to then have the banish to also search out polymerization, because even though we're relying on Dark Fusion, there's still some other fusion plays we go into in this deck using just our hero monsters. The 1 copy of the Shadow Mist, as mentioned before, as just a send option for Vion to then be able to get an additional hero search, and then the 1 Neos needed for the summon of our Neos Lord, and then being able to make use of this card for those bigger summons as well. For the rest of the main deck monsters, just 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, Hand Trap Spot, along with Infinite Impermanence, since we just want to focus a good amount of the cards in the deck for the actual hero engine. For the spells, we're running 3 copies of Evil Assault. You discard 1 card, take 1 level 4 lower evil hero monster from your deck, either add to your hand or special summon it. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for hero monsters. And if this card's in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add 1 Dark Fusion from your graveyard to your hand. So just being able to recycle back our Dark Fusion as well with this card, which we are also running 2 additional copies of in the deck. Just being able to have this card be our fusion play for our dark evil hero monsters, and then having that monster also for that fiend monster special summon it and cannot be targeted by our opponent's monster, spell, or trap effects for the rest of this turn. So extra protection for those cards also. The 1 copy of Dark Contact. Activate 1 of these effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. With this card, you fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion by shuffling its major heroes from your graveyard, field, or banishment into the deck. It's treated as a Dark Fusion, or add 1 Supreme King's Castle or Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand. Search power, but most of the time you're going to be the power of Neos, which is a contact fusion for your evil heroes. And then 1 Dark Calling using our hand and graveyard for the fusion play for another card, counting it as Dark Fusion. And 3 copies of A Hero Lives. We can grab any of the Elemental Hero engine that we run in the deck also, with our 1-ofs for the spells being the 1 Polymerization along with the 1 Miracle Fusion to search off of our Elemental Hero Sunrise, the 1 Super Polymerization for the Infernal Gainer search, the 1 Reinforcements of the Army, along with the 1 Triple Tactics Talent, and the 1 Call by the Grave to finish off the spell lineup, with our traps being the 1 copy of Dark Supremacy. You target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Dark Fusion and spells that mentioned it in your graveyard. Negate their effects to the end of this turn. If this card's in your graveyard, except the turn was sent there, you can banish it, then target up to 5 hero monsters in your graveyard and are banished. Shuffle them back into the deck. So more recycle power, especially when we have to invest heavy on some of the other monster effects that we run in the deck also. And then the 1 Favorite Contact, being able to special summon a fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions a hero monster as material, ignoring its summoning condition. This is just so we can grab more hero resources for cards in the deck, like summoning out our Shining Neos Wingman. So just a good additional trap resource to rely on as well, with the last of the traps for the deck just being our additional hand traps with the Ash Blossom in the deck, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. And then for the extra deck, we're running 2 copies of Evil Hero Neos Lord, needing an Elemental Hero Neos for 1 fusion monster that mentions it. So with the use of our Favorite Contact, we could also summon out the Shining Neos Wingman, as mentioned before, and then be able to use that card for this card. Plus 1 effect monster on the field. Must be special summoned with Dark Fusion. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects if it's special summon, or a monster sent to the opponent's graveyard while this card's on the field. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it. Just using that as an additional resource. Kind of like an evolved Super Polymerization with this card, because then you can use Super Polymerization to make Neos Lord, on top of then use Neos Lord to take 1 additional monster of your opponent's. Also the 2 copies of Inferno Wing Backfire. Once again, we don't run Avion or Burstinatrix in the deck. We just use the card effect of Dead End Prison to copy their name and then be able to use for that 1 spot here. And then if it's special summon, you can add a Dark Fusion or a card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So additional search, extending into that search, grabbing a Dark Fusion, let's say off of Dusted Gold, using it to summon out Backfire, and then just searching for the other cards using Backfire. The 1-ofs for our evil heroes include the 1 copy of Malicious Bane and the 1 Darkest Night, just needing a Fiend monster and a Warrior monster to make Darkest Night, and the added protection and destruction of Malicious Bane. With the hero monsters being 1 Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, 1 Infernal Rage Elemental Hero Flying Wingman, and then 1 Elemental Hero Sunrise, 1 Neos Wingman, the 1 Escoradal, and then the 1 Shining. If you wanted to run Absolute Zero, you can always swap it with the Shining that we run in the deck instead, needing the Elemental Hero monster and the Light monster, which would be a Dusted Gold in this position for this card. And then the Link monsters being the 1 Infernal Devicer for the Neos Search, the 1 Wonder Driver, and then the 1 Dread Decimator. Just more of the Link monster setup when we're locked into heroes and still be able to go into heroes even if we have to use them for our Link summon. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, once again, we have that added setup, just being able to make use of cards like Evil Hero, a Dusted Gold, to add a Dark Fusion or card that mentions it from our deck to our hand. So from there, we can go additionally for more and more searches, setting up the cards in our graveyard, I say would be some of the better plays also to rely on. For these summons, if we have the 1 additional hero, you can summon out your Elemental Hero Stratos, whether you use it for your normal summon or the Hero Lives play. If you use use it for the Hero Lives play, you can summon it out, avoiding the normal summon restriction. Then be able to use this card to grab your Dusted Gold, discarding the Dusted Gold to then search the needed Dark Fusion play as well. From here, you need the additional Evil Hero search to be able to make use of the additional cards as well. So if you have the Evil Assault in your hand, you can discard one card from your hand, then take that additional hero monster as well from your deck and summon it onto the field as well. So from there, you can summon out your Dead End Prison, then send one hero monster from your deck to the graveyard to have this card face up count as that additional card as well. You can send your Sinister Necrom to the graveyard, having it count as that additional monster. And then from there, activate your Dark Fusion, summoning out your Stratos and your Dead End Prison for the next card mentioned, which is your Evil Hero Inferno Wing Backfire, having the Avion or Basitrix be covered, and then the one additional hero monster. With this card, if it's special summon, being able to add one Dark Fusion or one card that mentions it from your graveyard. And then you can use your additional Inferno Wing Backfire to search out the next needed card which you wish to use, which from there also, don't forget you have the Sinister Necrom search in the graveyard for the Banish. So what you can do with this next play is grab your Contact Fusion spell, since it mentions the Dark Fusion in it, then use the Sinister Necrom for the Banish. This card will allow you then to special summon an Evil Hero monster from your hand or deck, except for Sinister Necrom. So then you can use this card to be able to grab your next go-to card, which can either be your added play for your Evil Hero Infernal Rider. If it's normal or special summon, you can add one Dark Fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So from the added use, you can add back the Dark Fusion from your graveyard, and with this card as well, go for the additional Dark Fusion setup for these two additional monsters, using those two to be able to summon out your Evil Hero Malicious Bane for this summon. And then from there, we have the needed 5 monsters in the graveyard for Infernal Rider to search out the Super Poly target. So then you can go for the Banish for those monsters to be able to add the Super Poly to your hand, and then be able to use the Dark Contact for one additional Hero Fusion summon using the Contact from those cards as well back onto the field by returning them from the Banish to then summon out your one additional monster. It all comes down to what you have in your hand to use for the Evil Hero play. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.